Okay, part four. I've decided in the series the few go arounds we do. I'll tell you beforehand if I'm gonna go for a certain strategy. Later on in these picks, I'm gonna go more towards maybe less of an analytical pick and more towards what I like even more this year. But for now, we're gonna continue going for a more best in slot, best available player, because it's a 10-man draft. I might have gone over this before, but it's week to week. We're not doing best ball, we're not doing other formats for this. So it makes a lot of sense to get the strongest players, and you kind of want to fill out your roster first. For more team, if there's more teams to, 12 to 14 to 16, you can see yourself not filling out your roster as much. But for this, we're going for the strongest players off rip. That's why we usually fill out our players first. Kicker and defense are obviously different. Different. We just kind of pick up what's left over at the end, which is generally fine. But yeah. For now, fourth pick is a interesting one. Sometimes you can jack one of those top three players if someone has a different mindset for what's available. So let's see how this draft goes. Each draft is different. You get people that kind of change up your mock drafts and might mess it up completely to not be realistic at all. But in general, you're gonna have someone that drafts in an awkward way, anyways. You're Especially if you're in like a personal league, you're probably gonna get someone who's drafting some unique choices to say the least. It could work out. It might not. So I imagine he's gonna take Jamar Chase. I like Tyreek Hill more than Cooper Kupp personally. I I was kind of trashing my friend did a draft and I really didn't like it. I was kind of trashing his early Cooper Kupp pick, but I feel a little differently about it now. Having a day to sit on it and think about it. I don't think it was bad. I really didn't like his second pick, but you just my opinion. He got Tony Pollard and Cooper Kupp, and I'm not a big fan of Tony Pollard this year. Uh, Especially early picking him as early as he's been going. So I can understand why you'd like a player like Tony Pollard, especially considering what he was capable of last year. But I just don't think the changes make him as valuable. Uh, so let's see how this plays out. Barkley's going to be picked earlier in general. We could definitely see him move quite a bit up. I don't think he's going to be as late as his expected pick is. But especially now considering he signed his contract, uh 1 year deal, incentives for the money. He's going to want to hit those incentives. I mean, it's basically what he signed for was an extra $1 million in incentives. So you're going to want to see him hit those numbers, and that's what he's going to go for. Bijan and Patrick Mahomes. Now, see, this is the kind of shit that I'm here for. Let's go. The 10th pick, you could see me doing something like that. Probably not Patrick Mahomes. As good of a quarterback, best quarterback in the league. When it comes to fantasy, when it comes to not fantasy. But let's see what I got available. I'd be fine with a Derrick Henry. Jonathan Taylor, you know, if you don't know about his situation, essentially he's upset about what the owner of the Colts said about running backs, and he's sitting out because he really didn't like the way that Zoom call went with all the other running backs. But I still think he's a fine pick. I don't think he should be dropping this far, and if he does drop this far, like if he's available, I'm taking him. Yeah, I don't care. I'm taking that. I really don't care. I think you have to take that. He fell off when it comes to picks really hard here. And I could see him, getting a contract extension anyways. He is a valuable player. He is more of a pure runner, not really a pass catcher, which does hurt him in fantasy. But with that kind of, fall off, I'm fine with that pick. If he doesn't get injured last season, we look at his numbers now. He had 132 fantasy points. You're looking at 260. Will it be like that? With Anthony Richardson at quarterback, if he ends up being the starter, I could see him benefiting from the fact that he's a running quarterback. Kind of like how Miles Sanders did with Jalen Hurts towards the beginning of last year. So yeah, I don't mind that pick at all. I don't care about I know some players I care about the controversies as much, but Taylor dropped to the point where I don't care. If players fall off enough, I'm not going to care. I'm going to take that option. And I can see myself taking Breece Hall here. Getting two players coming off pretty big injuries, could seem scary, but I don't mind it. And he's not there. I'm going to take... I could go Jalen Waddle and have Hill and Jalen. That'd be funny. I'm going to go Najee here. I really like Najee Harris this year. Pittsburgh Steelers have a better offensive line than they did last year. So got 202 points last year. I could see them get a big increase because of their upgraded offensive line. Hopefully their upgraded offense, they're still going to be a run first kind of offense, So I like this pick a lot. I think with, the quarterback situation will probably help him. Things that you might not think about, like Kenny Pickett just being able to get better down the field and allow Najee to punch in those, short running touchdowns. He's going to be a ball hawk near that end zone. Let's look at the draft board here. Kyler, okay, he drafts his running back. I was going to say, if he drafts another wide receiver, he's a big balls player, and I respect him for that, but he didn't. So, lots of standard picks going around. Really like my team so far. The only person doing really weird things, I would say, yeah, is McDuck. McDuck is wowing. Respect to McDuck. It's filling out his slots. Lots of powerful players there. Second quarterback off the board. If Josh Allen is available near me, I might grab them. I might take him here. I haven't been one of those players that have been reaching on a quarterback. I haven't felt too comfortable with it, but with a one wide receiver slot needing to be filled, I'd be fine taking Josh Allen at this turn here, if he's there, of course. But this guy auto pick, but not auto pick. Alexander Mattison way early. Obviously, he's going to be the lead back in Minnesota, but I don't know if I'm super comfortable with taking him this early. Jahmyr Gibbs going around the 40s. Yeah, so I'm going to take Josh Allen here, I think. I feel pretty good about that. Who got Diggs? Did I fuck up someone's whole day? Probably not. Diggs, yeah, he took Jalen Hurts. I need another wide receiver. I feel really good about this, and if I get someone like Debo, I feel really good about that. Amari Cooper, I'll take that. Injury, though. Undisclosed. Kind of annoying, but I'm going to take Debo over him if they're both up anyways. I just like Debo more this year. No, he didn't have a huge last year, but I still feel comfortable with him he'll be catching a lot of those passes. And I think anybody that'll be throwing him to him will be fine. I doubt, 2 years ago was his biggest year, so I feel comfortable with this pick. I'm going to look for George Kittle if he's available. We'll see how the tight ends start going. Jerry Judy's ADP is right on his rank, and I disagree with that. I think he's good. He's in for a big year. I think I've talked about how much I like him this year. Definitely a contender for top 10 wide receiver numbers. I think he proved it towards the end of last year that he is, that talented of a guy. If he can stay healthy with Sean Payton running the offense, I like that a lot. We're not drafting for any certain, format. Obviously, standard is PPR. I can see why people aren't a big fan of them, because for PPR you're picking for volume more than anything, in my opinion. Like when you're getting running backs, you want to probably get a player that is a pass catcher as well as a runner, not a pure runner. One of my leagues is PPR, and my other league is not. So, but all my players so far, I feel really comfortable with. Cam Akers falling, I can see that. I don't like drafting Rams players right now. I don't feel very good about the Rams situation. I don't think they did anything really significant to their offensive line. And although Cam Akers is gone anyways. See, this is a spot where I'm thinking Judy, I think. Because I know he's going to be the Denver's main wide receiver. I just know it. So, and Russell Wilson can't have degraded into nothingness. I don't believe it's possible for a quarterback to drop off a cliff like that. It's got to be a coaching error there. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett had to have just been a absolute goofball. Let's look at Titans. Ooh. I'm gonna not draft the tight end here. I feel good reaching on Kamara here. This is kind of a reach pick. It definitely is. I understand people not wanting this, but as a bench player, I feel good about Jonathan Taylor Najee, that having Kamara as a bench player, being that kind of pass catcher back he is, if I'm drafting for my PPR league, I feel really comfortable with that because I don't like a lot of the options. Dalvin Cook hasn't signed anywhere yet. Rachaad White as Tampa's running back, I don't feel super happy about. Like, he'll be the lead back. So if you want to draft him late, you can do it, as a bench, or like you're going a no running back strat. You can get him late and be like, hey, he's definitely going to be getting the volume on this team. But I just don't know about him as a player that much yet. Kind of looking at tight end now. I would have gone Kyle Pitts if he was up, but I think he was drafted right before me. 2 picks before me. So I'm good on Evan Ingram here. I like him better than Freiermuth. Even though he did pick up a lot towards the end of the season, he wasn't consistent throughout. He just signed the big contract to Jacksonville. They have Calvin Ridley now. It's just a high-powered offense. I feel good about taking Jags, whether it's Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley. I imagine someone already picked Calvin Ridley. Yeah, way early, and I don't blame him. So I feel good about Evan Ingram, and that's who I'm going to pick here. I don't think this guy, unless he hasn't drafted a tight end. Or no, he took Kelsey. Okay, so I'm getting Ingram here. This is considered a reach when it comes to X rank, but I just disagree. So yeah, let's go to our general players. See, this one's going by, I feel like, generally faster than my other ones. This guy took a defensive. Defensive already being grabbed. Are they on auto pick? They're not. McDuck is unreal. God, Chris Olave and DJ Moore as my starting wide receivers. That's just so scary to me. You know, I know Tyreek Hill's the guy. I know Jerry Jeudy's the guy where he's at. I know what Debo is capable of, although Ayuk might actually be the better pure wide receiver. Defenses and kickers, we're actually picking all these. Well, I'm just gonna get a field day with available players here. Drake London going into year 2. I think if I can pick him up this late, I'll do it. I can also just take Ayuk, you know. I just don't know who the quarterback is for San Francisco, and I don't know if they're gonna, you know. I obviously think Brock Purdy did a good job, but I mean, he was just running the offense how it should be run, and generally wasn't doing anything extra, and he's gone anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna take Drake London here. Any running backs I'm interested in? Not really. We can draft Drake London this late. I feel good on them. Second year, hell of a talent. Drafting Atlanta players that are, you know, we know what happened with Pitts. We know what happened with Drake London last year. A little scary, but I feel fine with him. I feel comfortable in my decision. Now on the wrap, I kind of want DeAndre Swift or Rashad Penny. You know, looking for another backup running back. I already have 4 wide receivers drafted. All ones I feel pretty good about. Rashad Penny or DeAndre Swift. One of them has a chance to explode this year and be a huge runner. Hopefully more consistent than Miles Sanders was, especially near the end of the year. They just stopped giving that guy the ball. I watched it in real time. Be a fine backup. In reality, I'd actually like to draft both of them, but that probably isn't an option. See, DeAndre Swift is gone. That's the one I would have rather picked. I'll take Penny though. He is a really talented runner. I get he can't stay healthy, but I mean neither can DeAndre Swift, so this is more of a risky pick. But I already have Kamara. I have Taylor and Najee. I think I can take it. I do have Josh Allen, so I could see myself taking Gabriel Davis. But I don't want to take him before I take another running back. Gabe Davis, I guess. So he likes to be called. This guy drafted 2 quarterbacks already. Interesting. Not a team I'm a huge fan of. I'll say that. Fine with Jalen Waddle. I could deal with Amari Cooper, but I don't think my running backs are good enough to make up for that. I don't feel super good about either of those guys this year. And we're going to take Gabe Davis. I mean, I have Josh Allen. It's kind of just for that. So now we're looking at quarterback for backup, just because it's what I like to do. I've talked about it in my other videos. I don't have to repeat it again. But I'm going to anyways. If you don't need to draft the backup quarterback in general. If you have a more, injury prone one, maybe like Lamar, I understand it's scary just running with him for a year because he was injured by the end of last year. because injured the year before. Just yeah, don't feel super comfortable about them. But usually I draft the quarterback just in case. Anyways, you never know what's gonna happen, and usually around where I'm at, there's good options. Anyways, you know, if I think Russell Wilson's gonna have a year that they think he should be capable of, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, I don't feel bad about any of these guys. I like Kirk a lot this year. I know. I know, but I like him better than, a Dak. I definitely like him better than, like, if you pick Dak for your starting quarterback, I mean, we can check, see who has them. I really don't like Dak this year. Let's see if he chose him as a starter. Just don't like that. I really don't like them. Who is available? Trevor Lawrence. Who did he take first? Whatever. Let's not worry about it. See who's available. Someone took Jordan Addison. Kind of annoying. Njigba or Carbonell. It's kind of what we're sitting on. Both Seattle players. I'm going to take Njigba. Well, a heavy wide receiver, not a lot of backup running backs. Probably should have took the Seattle guy, the rookie. It's fine. I would have felt more comfortable with the running back though. I should have took the running back, but it's fine. We did what we did. It's a mock draft for a reason. Sam Laporta. Is that a backup tight end? It is. Lots of these guys drafting backup tight ends. They're auto picking, right? And it's because they already have their defense and kickers filled out. I don't feel great about drafting backup tight ends, but they are kind of stocking up on them. But there are a lot of rookie tight ends this year that are going to be available, right? So when I'm looking, like I see Dalton Kincaid still being available. Luke Musgrave. There's a few other rookies here. Michael Mayer. Don't like the team he's on. Some of these rookies. Feel really good about. Okay. I have number one standing. It doesn't really matter, but it's because I didn't draft something like a backup tight end or kicker and defenses early. I drafted more for stock. But I feel really good about that draft. I feel good about a lot of them I made so far. I feel like a little later, in these later picks, I might feel like I make, choices that I wouldn't usually make and choices I don't like. I had a few choices, like I said. I rather have took the running back, but that's so late in my bench that it's like not something I feel super bad about. But yeah, that's the end of this one. We're gonna go right into part 5, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for you, 5 minutes from now.